24/7, I'm Rachel Smith. Israel is pushing ahead in its war against Hamas. This week, Israel Defense Forces bombed a densely populated refugee camp, setting off condemnation from the United Nations. In the meantime, as thousands of Gazans struggle to find shelter, some foreign nationals trapped in the area are slowly being let out, including U.S. citizens. The Advocate Channel's Gloria Pazmino has more.
A hammer is their only tool. Then it's their bare hands as Gazans sift through piles of mangled metal, concrete, and dust in search of bodies. This is the second hit on the Jabalia refugee camp this week. The Israeli military says it was targeting a Hamas command and control complex and killed several Hamas members, and blames Hamas for intentionally endangering civilians by building its infrastructure in populated areas. The director of Gaza's Indonesian hospital says the strike killed scores of people and injured hundreds more. The scale of destruction is widespread and pressure is growing on Israel to call for a ceasefire as the civilian death toll from the war escalates. In the meantime, a glimmer of hope as injured Palestinians and hundreds of foreign nationals, including U.S. citizens, have started arriving on the Egyptian side of the Rafah border crossing Wednesday. Back in the U.S., political pressure is mounting. President Biden was confronted by a rabbi during a private fundraiser in Minneapolis.
Mr. President, if you care about Jewish people as a rabbi, I need you to call for a ceasefire right now.
Biden responded by saying he was supportive of a humanitarian pause to allow for the release of the more than 200 hostages held by Hamas in Gaza. Muslim leaders representing a key voting bloc in Minneapolis say the president failed to meet their deadline to call a ceasefire this week.
No ceasefire, no vote in 2024.
Reporting in New York, Gloria Pazmino.
As investigations continue into the explosions in Gaza, Israel is facing increased criticism from lawmakers in the U.S. New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is urging President Biden to pressure Israel to honor human rights laws.
I believe the deployment of white phosphorus, and I believe bombing a refugee camp is a human rights violation. I believe it's a war crime. We're seeing refugee camps bombed. We're seeing thousands of children who have died. This is not war. This is chaos. And we have a responsibility to uphold our standards and commitment to human rights. I think anyone who values and centers human rights and human life would be concerned if the United States continues to support this. And right now, it is current standing U.S. law. We have Leahy laws on the books that prohibit, as well as policies that prohibit U.S. assistance to aiding gross human rights violations. And what we are seeing play out on television before all of us are gross human rights violations. And I believe we have a responsibility to uphold our commitment to that.
The Congresswoman introduced an amendment earlier this week expressly banning Israel for using U.S. military funding on certain explosives targeting civilians. Well, a Republican-led effort to censure Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib is on hold. The House of Representatives approved a vote to table the resolution. It was introduced by Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene after Tlaib made comments that were critical of Israel and in support of Palestine. She is the first Palestinian-American woman to serve in Congress. The resolution had cited a protest on October 18th. A source says the Congresswoman was not at the demonstration, but she later spoke at a rally outside the Capitol in support of a ceasefire. They also point to a social media post that blamed Israel for the bombing of a hospital in Gaza. Well, in other news today, more and more students in New York City's public school system are experiencing homelessness. Now, according to data by the Advocates for Children of New York, more than 119,000 students experienced homelessness this past school year. That is the 8th year in a row for record homelessness rates. Public school students without permanent housing rose across all 5 boroughs, and the Bronx had the highest rate. Now, the report blames an increase in migrant families and unaccompanied youth. Well, thank you so much for being with us today for AC 24/7. For more, go to theadvocatechannel.com and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page. For the Advocate Channel today, I'm Rachel Smith. Take care.